For people that love Nathan Fielder, watching his work is almost like there's a sexual component where you're being dominated by someone's intellect. It's like he is going to fuck your brain.
Right.
And you want your brain to be fucked by him. Like, it's like, just take me, do whatever you want with me. I want to go on the journey.
It's so true.
Salvador Dali threw a great party. We all drank Bacardi. It got kinda gnarly. We're light as a feather. We're tougher than leather. Together we're weirder together.
I can't put my finger on it, but I'm very attracted to you today. I mean, I'm attracted to you every day, but there's something with this look.
Do you know what I think it is? It's from, there's a B-52 children's book, and one of the characters, a cartoon character, we were reading this book to Goldie a lot, and then you said to me randomly one day, I have a weird crush on that woman in the book. And I was like,
right.
What? And she was dressed with like, I'm wearing a vest and a t-shirt. She sort of had this,
okay, so that book, Wigs, was based on the B-52 song. And this is one of the children's books that Goldie made us just read over and over and over
One
and over.
time on a flight to Ireland where I thought she would sleep, she was one and she was up the whole flight, and I must have read Wigs to her like 450 times.
What's that on your head?
A wig.
Yes, and there was one character that had a little bit of a Elvira meets who was the main character in Ghost World? But there was, a bit of a like 90s, like
alternative
50s throwback kind of thing.
Right.
And yeah, you're right.
90s, 50s. That's why you have a crush on me today.
Yeah, I do have a crush on you. Well done on unleashing a subliminal memory, a repressed memory.
You got to keep the marriage alive.
Not even from my childhood,
No,
from parenting.
I know. It's so funny. Attraction.
Yeah, I don't. Were you attracted to cartoon characters growing up? Like, I don't remember a lot of those.
I mean,
maybe one of the gummy bears.
One of the gummy bears.
I think so. They were quite feminine. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but I did dress like a polar bear 2 Halloweens in a row, so that I might be a secret furry. But I mean, Bugs Bunny has a great personality. I think it's personality.
Do you know where I think you would bump heads with being an actual furry?
The comfort level?
The storage.
Oh.
Because you hate
Yeah.
packing too much unnecessary stuff. So you'd have this big costume with this massive head.
Yeah.
You can't just have one, right? Surely if you're a furry, you've got 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's a massive storage issue.
That's
it's
true.
one of the issues that is really sort of like there's a lot of unspoken suffering around that I think this podcast might be the place we delve into. Furry storage issues.
Yeah, I think so.
I cannot wait to talk about the premiere, the first episode of the Rehearsal to the new Nathan Fielder show.
The Rehearsal 2.
The Rehearsal Part 2. Yeah.
I
We
know.
watched it yesterday with our kid who grew up on Nathan For You. Inexplicably, this is like deep family lore for us.
And Goldie's turned her friends on to Nathan For You.
Nathan Fielder, look, there's nothing, it's probably one of the most unsurprising things in the world that we like Nathan Fielder.
It's like liking Bon Iver's album.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
for
everybody.
for obvious Gen X takes.
When I went to Sarah Silverman's annual party and Nathan was there, he was, and you can imagine Sarah Silverman, she's
Heavy room.
If you don't know who she is, she throws a Hollywood party that will have very many.
She's a comedian, though, known for other
celebrities.
things. But yes,
Absolutely.
this is part of her
And
service to the
Nathan
community.
Fielder, after his first show came out, was like, people were just losing their minds.
Now, that's something that I think it's become almost a trope that like smart alternative people like Nathan Fielder. But what we're talking about is actually, it goes deeper than that. We are living at the same time as one of the greatest comedy minds ever, I believe.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
believe that.
And there's an interesting thing with like, but do you feel things, or is it like someone was talking about Nathan versus Kaveh, another artist who makes alternative kind of things. Alternative is like not the right word, but things that
Postmodern.
postmodern. the Safdie brothers. I don't know, things like that. But Nathan, just his physicality. I like the cold open. Also, so this is one of my thoughts. So the White Lotus, everybody was just comparing each season to the White Lotus. And this one, at first, people were having a hard time to get into. How can they top it? And of course, with Nathan, you're like, how can he top Nathan Fielder, Nathan For You? And then the Rehearsal came out and people were like.
So if you don't know about this work, go back and watch everything. There's multiple seasons of Nathan For You. Then there was the Rehearsal. Then there was the Curse. And now there's the Rehearsal 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you top it? The cold open of the Rehearsal 2, you don't even know, am I watching it? Is this it? Or is this something else? So it starts off with a bang. And I don't know if we should give too much away.
I don't want to give too much away. And also talking about a Nathan Fielder show after the first episode is almost impossible because you don't quite know the journey he's going to take you on.
I think we're going on a great journey.
Oh, man. And it is, you just can feel the seeds he's planting that could open in multiple different directions. I mean, one of the things I'm so blown away by with Nathan Fielder is there's always such great thinking, like great ideas in the work and behind the work. He's never someone that like you feel is just pressured to crank out a new show or something. There has to be a genuine concept there. And it reminds me of when I was young, I read an interview with Neil Young, and he said he only writes a song when he's got an actual idea. And I feel like Nathan Fielder is similar. There's always just a brilliant idea at the center of these shows.
And you're wondering, where's this going? How did he think of this? Why? What? I have already ideas, like why he started thinking about it. But just his comedy, the simplicity of taking a scene that would be nothing, but the way he is lying in the scene or sitting in relation to the other person, there might be one aspect. His physicality is what's striking me so much.
Masterful. That's masterful.
It's just
it's
like
masterful clowning.
The clowning is so simple. Anyway.
No, absolutely. And what I'm getting a sense of from this season already is I guess there's been a growing self-awareness in his work, because once you start deconstructing the idea of storytelling and ideas, you kind of wonder like how far can you take it before it becomes totally self-referential. And one of the seeds he's planting in this new season is sort of, can his gift be used for the betterment of society, which has been an idea from the back of Nathan For You, but he's really getting into it. And weirdly, this is the weird thing about geniuses too. It's timely in a way you would never expect. Like the season is being set up to be dealing with like commercial air travel safety, which is like, it's in the news. This show must have been started a year and a half ago, yet somehow it's interacting with the zeitgeist in this powerful way.
But wait, his other shows were sort of posing as Nathan For You as helping businesses, but he was actually sort of ruining them sort of in a way, but not really. He was just sort of putting a wrench into certain ones in his brilliant way. But this, you genuinely think he's actually, if he actually is kind of helping a big problem for real.
I think he's wrestling with something. My hunch, and I could be totally wrong, my hunch is that he's exploring the idea. Okay, wait, let me try and get this thought out. My hunch is that he's setting up the premise that he's going to actually explore the idea of making positive sort of bureaucratic or industrial change, like actually positive, that can save lives through his kind of deconstructionist storytelling. And I mean, it's just fascinating.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
And the thing about Nathan Fielder that I think a lot of people struggle with is the aspect of kind of manipulation, whether it's of his cast members or of the audience. And, you know, we talked about Andy Kaufman a few weeks ago, who obviously this is the genetic line. This is the family line in comedy flowing through that. But with Andy Kaufman, there was this self-destruction in the work that with Nathan Fielder, you always feel that he's actually going to come out on top. Like he has a self-preservation that is almost like a version 3.0, like updated of this type of deconstructionalist comedy.
And he's the butt of the joke, just being a kind of strange. He knows how strange and awkward he is. And so he's the butt of the joke as well. So he's got that going on, but you do feel like he's going to be okay. And like the Safdie brothers are very cynical, dark. You know, with Nathan, I do think, sure, once in a while, I'm like, are these kids okay? Like the rehearsal had children in it, and you're like, oh, like one boy in particular you were feeling worried about him attaching to Nathan.
But it is interesting to note that his productions have never really come under fire later by people who felt they were misrepresented.
My feeling is that he genuinely likes humanity and he likes people and interesting people, like Hands on Hard Body, that documentary about middle Americans doing a thing where if they touch their hand on a car, who has it the longest gets the truck. And at first you're watching this and you're feeling like, you know, like a city person, like, look at these idiots from the country touching a truck to win it. And then as the documentary goes on, you're like, oh my God, I love these people. They're amazing characters. So you feel like Nathan is not just making fun of people. You feel he likes people, even if they're from a completely different background or socioeconomic background. Whereas, like, again, the Safdie brother, I don't know why I'm punching.
Yeah, well, they did The Curse together and that. And
they feel a little more, well, The Curse felt just like, I hate people.
It felt meaner. Yeah, it did feel meaner.
Like, I hate people. I'm interested in these characters, but I really feel like everyone's kind of evil or something.
Well, this is what Nathan Fielder does on his shows. It's interesting because remember he came from a background of magic.
Yeah.
Like he did magic as a kid.
Yeah.
They're like magic tricks.
Right.
Each of these shows where you just kind of go like, can he possibly pull this off?
Sorry, we're going so deep.
No, it's good. I mean, we want to hype this up. People need to watch this stuff.
The recreation of the sets that he does is a big magic trick. It's kind of amazing. And it makes you think about so many things. Like at first you're like, what a waste of money. He literally built, I'll do one spoiler, recreated an inside of an airport, which is such an awful place to go.
Totally.
And he recreated it exactly this part of an airport inside an airport. And you're like, what a waste of money. But then you're like, but movies make Mad Max's set. But of course, like if you're making TV, you're going to be spending a lot of money. So why am I mad at him for recreating this?
Well, it's almost that he's telling us that it's happening and we're watching it's not waste, but we're watching the money being spent, the attention to detail in honor of somebody's crazy idea, which these are all crazy ideas. I kept thinking when I was watching it, I feel like almost for people that love Nathan Fielder, watching his work is almost like there's a sexual component where you're being dominated by someone's intellect. It's like he is going to fuck your brain.
Right.
And you want your brain to be fucked by him. Like, it's like, just take me, do whatever you want with me. I want to go on the journey.
It's so true.
It's a real, like, he dominates the confidence. It's funny because he plays someone who's lacking confidence, but truly the confidence to execute these harebrained schemes.
Well, at this point, he's playing lack of confidence.
Absolutely.
What else is going on
that
in the
was amazing. So you got to watch The Rehearsal too, and watch everything Nathan Fielder's ever done. There's just been a lot of TV. Well, you had a little TV though experience. You went down to Melbourne and did The Project. RHOBH asked you to come down and promote your book.
Excuse me. Yes, I went to Melb's. Is that how you say it?
Sweet. That is so authentic.
And and it was like Easter weekend, so I arrived starving and nothing was open. But it's so funny. Everyone working on the project behind the scenes, I got along with them so well. It was so funny. Like, even though I was in and out, I just did the project with RHOBH and then came back to Sydney. I felt like I had known them for 3 months. It was just a bizarre thing.
So you're suggesting there may be some past life experience with the below the line talent of the RHOBH crew.
Yeah, I think so.
And Ballpark Music were the other guests who are sort of friends of the family, and they're opening for Oasis.
They're opening for Oasis, and then this really sweet London comedian and his manager who did a couple tours with my dad, Donovan.
Oh yeah, what did he say?
He said
Didn't
something funny. He said, and your father brought this drummer who was like, maybe had done too much acid in his life because he was couldn't hold it together on this tour. And it was very difficult. And I was like, oh, okay. But your dad was great. And I was like, yeah. But it was cute. The green room was really fab.
Good
I
vibe.
thought it was all for me. So I spread all my stuff around. I'm drinking wine and eating the food. And then the producer comes back and she's like, so a few people are going to be coming here. And I think they were like hinting, like, can you like put your stuff, like not take over every sofa?
What a diva.
I know. I was like, oh, sorry. But she was really sweet and she created a good vibe. It was great. I lit up when I was talking about you, apparently.
I know. I love that.
When
I
they
honestly, I watched me and Goldie watched you live, and it is funny. Like I really did feel, like you said such nice things, but the part that really moved me was when you just said, he's my best friend. Like it's so, I don't know, just your sweet nature. I don't know. I am your best friend. I love being your best friend.
Besties.
Yeah. So my TikTok has been just, it's like the Bravo fan universe.
Oh.
It's all lit up again between the final episode of the reunion of Beverly Hills Housewives and the first episode of season 2 of The Valley.
Right.
It's exciting.
Oh my God.
It's like, it's sometimes the whole Bravo world, and we're not like too deep in it. We do like 3 or 4 of the shows or whatever, which is deeper than a lot of people, but we're not watching like Potomac and, you know, all the various. But there are moments when there's just heat in the Bravo universe, and this feels like one of them.
Yeah, because The Valley felt like went after Vanderpump. And then, so Kristen Doty, is that her name?
Yeah.
We have a friend who just got proposed to, and it sounds amazing. But I think in this season, Kristen gets proposed to on a boat. And it looks, Kristen's like sloppy, messy. She's like good value TV person, right?
Absolutely.
And it's so her reaction. Did you catch that?
I didn't. I want to see that.
She just looks like mad and like confused and kind of like moved, but like she's going to fall off the boat. And it's just all very sloppy and like, it's like he's too close to her when he proposes and she's like, what? She nearly like knocks him over. And it's just like.
We love a botched proposal.
I'm also just intrigued with her physique. The way she moves, like she's kind of, I don't know why she intrigues me.
Well, and how do you feel about, because obviously like, you know, we were big Vanderpump heads and that's all getting a reboot with a whole new cast and that thing. And so they've kind of imported a lot of the exciting cast over to the Valley. So it's almost like watching it, you get this weird sense that you like have sneakily been allowed to continue watching these characters that we thought we weren't going to see again.
It's funny after watching Real Housewives, which everyone's very immature, not everybody, but then going back to the Vanderpump cast who are so young and it's like.
And so messy.
So messy, but they're getting married and having kids and then breaking up, but they're so mean and like, it's just such a nightmare. I mean, Real Housewives, I guess they're mean, but they're sort of, they have a little bit of emotional intelligence once in a while.
So what did you think with Beverly Hills Housewives? So firstly, let's just, Kyle Richards. You knew her from when you were
Well, I knew her a little bit when I was a teenager and she was great. I really liked her. She's
did you
sweet.
Or did you not get lesbian vibes from her when she was younger?
No, but I'm not surprised if she's got a low voice. I don't know. I mean, I mean, it's not surprising. But then again, there's so many gay women that are very feminine, you know.
Sure. Now, what do you think? This is what I'm curious about. This whole subject of boundaries for cast members on reality shows it's an ongoing conversation, right? Like who keeps things, like when Sandoval and Ariana broke up, there was this is on Vanderpump. The whole conversation was about that they kind of had this relationship for the camera. They were business partners, right? In a sense, right? And what was going on was much more complex, as I'm sure it would be. Yeah. But is there a duty on the part of someone who signs on to do one of these shows to kind of lay it all out? Like, is it fair game that people are coming at Kyle for not having her and Morgan's relationship be exposed on the show?
I don't know. I think it was annoying at a certain point. It was mixed messages when they were tattooing. She was tattooing Morgan, and they were
that whole season was very hot and heavy.
Yeah, doing a lesbian video when they were clearly like just so flirty. But then that was a funny time with her marriage was breaking up. So I kind of feel in defense of Kyle that she's also Catholic. I think it's like complicated for her.
Yeah,
she needs to she can have time to I don't think she's going to come out, but I don't think she needs, I think she can give someone a moment to just, process,
But I guess the question is like, if you sign on to one of these shows, you're going to be doing a balancing act.
Yeah.
Where you're going to be trying to keep the most private sides of yourself private.
People protect their children. Of course, you're not going to say, I just wrote a memoir. You're not going to say everything in your whole life. You're just going to hopefully give people enough of what they want, but you're not going to, people protect their kids. Some kids don't go on and some do and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't want to.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the.
I don't know about the Garcelle thing, that's interesting. So sorry if you don't watch The Real Housewives, but there was a huge thing. There's this woman, Garcelle, who's very influential in the Black community as this power woman.
Very successful.
Successful.
Film producer.
Was a big
model.
Yeah. Also early to do a lot of things, gorgeous, strong, successful, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, it's like, I don't know how much I can talk because I'm, white.
Well, there's a lot of subtleties in what happened with Bose coming in and Garcelle,
another Black cast member came in.
Shows that often have a token person of color on their shows and how that relationship can be a little bit fraught if people are competing for the same space as, when there isn't a lot of space. It's something I've actually just been enjoying learning about watching TikToks because there's a lot of very interesting Black women talking about the experience of being a Black woman in media and how that's played out on that show this season between Bose and Garcelle. So anyway, we'll keep watching that and learn about it. But interesting. So I don't want to get too into the JoJo Siwa Big Brother thing only because
why?
Only because this relationship, people. I don't know Kath Ebbs, but it's just too heartbreaking, the whole thing. And I don't want to be like, I think when there's issues in people, she's either playing a game with the media and the show and her partner's fine, or she's not. But I just feel like I want to stay out of it. But JoJo Siwa is someone who shows up and gives 150% to any type of these media engagements she gives. And so it just makes me think of how, dude, it's like, I have that song Born for This Bullshit. That's how I feel about being in the music industry. I am not born for it. The side that would go on one of these reality shows and just live in the chaos and the destruction and put it all out there for people.
That's like a nightmare.
I couldn't do it.
I could not do it.
No,
I need my own space. Oh, and also I kind of appreciated the Katy Perry thing. I don't think going into space is a good use of money in this time in the world. I personally think it's not the right time.
Well, space exploration maybe not space tourism. Right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. If we need to get the whole system.
If there's scientific value to the trip or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, but like Earth first a little bit right now because it's like America needs to pull itself together and get more, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
But I don't like putting down people, bullying, even though Katy Perry might be, a Republican from Orange County and not my style. I don't know. What were you saying about that quickly?
Well, that was interesting. I heard an academic talking. I'm sorry, I'm going to start, if I'm referencing TikToks or social media, it's important to credit people with their ideas. But this woman is a academic who is paralleling Katy Perry and Naomi Wolf, who is someone who sort of was a darling of the left and then slowly got moved over and over further to the right. And this woman's thesis was that laughter at people actually drives them further towards extremism. So if people are flirting with more, I guess, alt-right or, right-wing concepts, that the left is very unforgiving. And that in some ways when we turn people into laughing stocks, when we'd previously felt alignment with them because they've not read The Room or been tone deaf.
Or like her last single, everyone laughed at or whatever.
Exactly. And it's just for like being tone deaf, socially tone deaf or whatever. You kind of are pushing people towards, going further to where there's an audience that'll actually have them. And there's no – Goldie, our teenager, was said, well, what's the story? You can't then – if someone does something ridiculous, you can't point it out, you can't laugh. And I get it. Like in a way, we do need communally to laugh when people have these tone deaf cultural moments, because it's how we relieve the tension and all this.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said for why the right has been growing and has been like the blob, just sucking people up, because I do think that the left makes it very difficult to stay in its good graces. She was just saying like, I could see Katy Perry going further and further down this road. Right. So anyway, it's pretty interesting.
She and Russell can get together again.
Oh God, no, that's horrible. God forbid. There was back to Big Brother for 1 second.
Yeah.
It was funny how it tied into our I want to give her the title. I want to give her the title now of being an official Weirder Together researcher. Our friend Winona Ryder, who periodically sends us random texts of, she listens to the pod. She is a beautiful baby, and she sends us things she thinks she's interested in. She sent us down a rabbit hole of Big Brother that happened years ago that we'd somehow missed. The whole David's dead thing.
You know what?
Do you know about David's dead, Poppy?
I watched
Do you know
it.
About, okay.
I actually watched it and forgot. So when I was watching it now, I thought I had forgotten in any case.
Okay, so
it's amazing.
I'll give people a little bit of background to when this happened.
One of the most iconic reality stars is New York.
Yeah, so it happened. This was in 2016, Big Brother. Angela Bowie, Tiffany, who was New York from I Heart New York. They were all in the house together, and David Bowie died during the show, and that's Angela Bowie's ex.
From the song Angie.
Yeah. So that was about Angie. Did Mick and her have a thing too?
Oh, I think so. Maybe
Okay.
I'm making
All
that
right.
up. Winona?
I like
know.
you muddying the waters of urban rock and roll legends. But Angela Bowie grabs Tiffany, New York, and sits her down and says, I just found out David's dead. Tiffany goes into hysterics thinking she's talking about David Guest, who was asleep in the other room, also in the Big Brother house. And it's one of the just most fantastic and just sort of extreme miscommunications
like
that's ever happened on reality TV.
It's like watching a slow car crash, that kind of thing, where it's happening slowly, but you're also just like, oh my God, it's like watching a weird tennis match in the weirdest way, because you're like watching Angie Bowie and then you're watching Tiffany New York and you're just like, wait, what?
Now, and then the twist to this is that David Guest capitalized on this and marketed it. He went on a tour. He was meant to go on a tour a few months after called the either David's Not Dead tour or David's Alive tour or something. But then 2 weeks before the tour, he died.
Oh my God.
So
wow.
There. So I don't know what the moral of that story is.
So heavy, because when David Bowie died, the whole world cried. And so it's also
but not the way Tiffany did, not the way New York did.
The moment that Angie Bowie would have had. Anyway,
Exactly.
It was so a band did a song about it, right?
Yeah, there was some musician who did. This was what Winona sent us.
Yeah,
anyway,
it was great.
A guy doing an electro pop song called David's Dead that was all built on quotes from the show. Anyway, fantastic. Who knew? This is
some more music lore. Can you tell me why Johnny Cash wore all black at a certain period of time?
I believe he said something like he'll wear all black until there's no more war, no more suffering in the world. It was a very, very spiritual statement. And then also just, great branding. I mean, he really tied it all together with that wish. That, like, people make these statements like that. Like, do you remember Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt saying they'll only get married when gay people can get married?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that too. There's
And our friend Brock wore only white for a few years.
That's true. To do with gay marriage?
To do with
Purity of heart.
I don't know.
There's some cool music stuff going on. We just listened to the new Lana Del Rey single, Bluebird, in the car. What do you think of that?
I thought it was nice. I love her.
It's like an old standard or something,
Yeah.
isn't it? Lana Del Rey, who has had the most fascinating career representing young, powerful women whose lives get totally derailed through their daydreams. That's how I view her. Like, she represents like someone who just is so involved in her own fantasy life that it takes her to great heights and also crashes out. And,
yeah, I just can't believe that one video. Maybe it was video games where she has these kind of older, sleazy, rednecky dudes, and it's so inappropriate in a weird way. Like she's like flirting and sitting on their laps. They're like dad figures.
Well, I mean, someone with a complex relationship to masculinity.
Yeah.
Supposedly had some kind of an entanglement with Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, okay.
And someone who's interested in male power and what it means.
I just thought that was very bold and interesting that she chose to do that. And you can still feel that she was exploring it. And it was like an art piece. Like she does have that interesting, there's a part of her that's sort of doing an art piece. And I don't know, she's very provocative.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. Also, if you
that song's old, but that's what got me into her.
Oh yeah, sure. If you signed up to our mailing list, which you all should be, we send out 2 emails a week, one with info about the pod that's coming out, and then one's a pick of the week. And our pick of the week last week was Nicole Lawrence, who's an amazing guitar player and songwriter. She plays for Jenny Lewis. She played for Coldplay, King Tuf, Devendra Banhart, and she's putting out her own music, and it's just fabulous. And she also, your little brother is in her band.
Yeah, that's so cute.
And in her heart.
Yeah.
And so that's really great. We absolutely love that. And then last night, we watched the Allee Willis documentary.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is all just recommends.
Yeah, it's a big week of recommendations.
But yeah, Allee Willis, who lived she lived in the Valley and we met her, but she was a writer. She wrote like so many hits.
Famously wrote September for Earth, Wind, Fire, wrote the theme to Friends, I'll Be There For You, The Neutron Dance, Boogie Wonderland. What was the Pet Shop Boys song?
I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, but like so many amazing pop hits, huge hits. And the Color Purple musical. Anyway,
yeah,
so
she was fascinating and she's just amazing. I burst into tears at one point when they were doing The Color Purple, just remembering reading The Color Purple. And when, I forgot the name of the characters, but when one character lets the other one know, basically like it's so, I can't even relive it.
She told her how to masturbate.
Basically, but but I was crying because she had only been raped or something in her life. Anyway, The Color Purple, I'm sure you've read it, Beautiful Babies, but what a powerful book.
Allee Willis, I wrote a song with her at one point, and her house was like, so her partner was the production designer for Pee-wee's Playhouse. And so her house she lived in also was just like, it was like an artwork working in
the 80s, there was the guy from Devo who had that, and Pee-wee Herman, like kitsch. Her house was all kitsch. Who else? Cyndi Lauper a little bit. Like there was that 80s crossover with
like bric-a-brac, pop culture, Andy Warhol.
Like loving 50s kitsch. And her whole house was a museum of kitsch. And it was kind of amazing.
I have a couple Allee Willis memories that I wanted to share. One of them was the way she worked was just so fabulous. She had a backing track. She often wrote to a track, so she was kind of writing top line, but she was great at chords and production. But in this case, we had a track, and she liked to get stoned, then play the song for the first time, hearing it, while she had her dictaphone and hum whatever melodies she instinctively felt, and then would not change one single part of the rhythm or melody. Like she deeply trusted her own instinctive response to the backing track, which was amazing. But then we were writing a song. We were actually writing a song to pitch for, do you remember that movie Burlesque?
Yeah.
With Christina Aguilera? And it was really funny because it was a song about female empowerment, and we were writing this song together. And at one point I suggested the lyric, something mentioning Rosa Parks. And she looks at me, she's like, you're going a little far there. And it like brought me straight down to it. That was like, I was making some kind of illusion that Christina Aguilera's journey in the film Burlesque had sort of notes of the Rosa Parks heroic experience, which I thought was very, very funny.
That's super
and she did, when it wasn't working well, she was like, look, I only want to do this if it's great. I just came from this. And she pointed to the color purple poster on the wall. She was like, I don't need to do something bad. Let's make it really good. I had a great
time.
I had a great time.
She was in a good mood.
In 2 or 3 sessions, I learned so much about songwriting from her. I really did.
Yeah, she was like music saved her. It's so fascinating.
Yeah. So, I reckon that's about it. We've hit a lot of stuff for this week. I am really excited about so many things that are coming up that we can't quite announce
new
just
stools
yet.
for my art studio.
Oh, yeah, you're starting to get painting again.
Yeah, I just got some from a auction house. Good price. So
amazing.
now I can sit and paint.
Oh, this Thursday night, if you're in Sydney, I'm DJing DJ Dad Bod at the Oxford Arts Factory for Max Quinn's single launch. He has a great new single called Guru. Funeral are playing too. I'm busting out some new mashups.
Over the weekend, the Easter weekend, you did a great DJ set for kids.
Yeah, in Tumbalong Park, Darling Harbour.
That was adorable.
It was pretty fun.
I never know if I should film kids and put it online, but
I would say no to that. Just as a broad answer, without hearing any more specifics, I'd say no.
Just the kids are so cute.
Anyway, sign up to our Substack newsletter. It's really fun, and there's space for interaction over there. You can give us some comments on the pod or whatever, and basically say everything's still out. If you haven't read it, what are you doing? Are you high? Read one of the best memoirs in recent years by Ione Skye. And I've got a few more tour dates, and then there's going to be a bit of time off, and then we're going to announce some big stuff for later in the year.
Excellent.
So beautiful babies.
Good conversation.
Good combo. All right.
See you next time.
See ya.
Together we're weirder together.